All right. So yeah, welcome everyone to CodeMonk. And today's webinar, we have Equity Crowdfunding 101. We have our partner here, Seedrs. They will take you through the next half an hour plus, I think, with some information, and then we'll round it off with some Q&A later on. So feel free to hit the chat if you have something you want to ask these guys. First of all, my name is Johanna. I work with marketing partnerships at CodeMonk. For those of you who heard, I've been with the company for about 1.5 years now, and we're growing steadily, so it's exciting times. And for those of you who does not know, CodeMonk is a developer community and a platform for companies to connect with tech professionals worldwide. So we have a unique platform where you can hire and manage technical teams. And similar for developers, we have a marketplace where you can find possibly your next dream job or project in tech. And from Seedrs here today, we have Andreas and Altaf. So I'll leave it to you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit and talk a bit about what Seedrs does.
So hi, I'm Andreas. I'm a BDR here at Seedrs. I work with startups to help them raise capital through equity crowdfunding. I'm usually the first point of contact, and I have that initial conversation with the founder to explore whether equity crowdfunding would be a good investment avenue for that business. So that is my main role here at Seedrs. I've been here for just under 6 months, and yeah, we'll be talking about equity crowdfunding and some details.
Hi, my name is Altaf. I've been here at Seedrs for just about a year now. I specialize in sustainability and F&B sectors. So I work alongside founders, alongside their fundraising journey. Got my background's in sort of economics and finance, but I've got a real passion for entrepreneurship and the startup community. So sort of delved into Seedrs from there. But look, we will kick things off. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can ask at the end.
So yeah, this is just an oversight for anyone who has heard of equity crowdfunding, or even people who have no idea how it works and are interested in using it as a fundraising avenue. Equity crowdfunding, in short, is a financing strategy that involves issuing investors ownership in a company in exchange for capital. The beauty of it, though, is that anyone can invest, from small ticket sizes of £10 to large ticket sizes of 10K. Equity crowdfunding is way more than just an investment process. It is also a marketing tool for customer retention and customer acquisition. It rallies your base of customers and improves your brand loyalty. So if a customer is so committed to a brand and even invests in it, the chances are they're going to become even more loyal to that brand as they have a stake in it themselves. Yeah, we're a marketplace for investing in high growth startups and scale ups. We have recently been acquired by Republic, making us the largest private investment platform in the world with 2.5 million global users. We work with pre-seed companies up until Series B. Startups raise money from their consumer base and our investor base. So the idea is to bring those two together. And we give customers and consumers the opportunity to buy into the brand they love. As you can see on the right, that is, how our campaigns typically look like. We have all sorts of startups ranging from sustainability to fintech to food and beverage. Food and beverage and fintech tend to be two of the most popular sectors that our Seedrs investors tend to invest in. That is usually because they have their own communities, and also the UK is the fintech capital of the world. But we also have up and coming top performing sectors such as sustainability, performing really well on our platform. Yeah, so we've had a good bit of success so far. Over £2.4 billion have been invested into campaigns on Seedrs. Over 2,000 deals have been funded on our platform, and we have an industry-leading 90% success rate. Sorry. Yeah, as you can see, these are just some of the startups that have raised on our platform. Revolut is one of our biggest ones. We did their Series B in 2017. We also have AFC Wimbledon, the football club. They raised money for their new stadium. so their fans could all own a part of the stadium. This, the plant-based food company, raised over £8 million with us last year, exceeding 200% of their target. And Cover, the on-demand insurance app, also raised with us last year, just showing how popular insurtechs have become on our platform. So 1 in 3 seed stage companies choose crowdfunding, according to Bowhurst. That just goes to prove that it's a really prominent form of funding in recent times. Now, why equity crowdfunding? So why do businesses use crowdfunding? The first is money. All startups need the money. They also need to have that validation. So that is helped, obviously, if they have investors investing into their business. Crowdfunding can give you a form of investment while marketing at the same time. Community engagement is also a part of it. Revolut is an example of this. Revolut had just launched their premium membership before their campaign on Seedrs started, and only premium members were allowed to invest in the crowdfund. So because of that, and so many people wanted to invest, they actually doubled their premium membership as a result of that. Crowdfunding can also be a really speedy way to raise funds. Campaigns typically take around 8 to 12 weeks from the time when the due diligence process starts to the time when the funds are released into your account. And lastly, the nominee structure is an added benefit. A lot of startups raising equity have the issue of messy cap tables. At Seedrs, you can put through, high value tickets through our nominee structure, and we will deal with all the legal and admin work for that. As you can see here, Seedrs investors were the most active investor in 2022 by far. Additionally, our investors tend to be more sophisticated investors. We have had 94 campaigns raising over £1 million, and the most number of campaigns raising the most number of investment.
So what makes a business suitable for crowdfunding? So not every company has to have each one of these, but these are sort of 5 main factors that we have a criteria for. So number 1 will be impact driven. So how impact driven is the company? Is it revolutionizing the market? Is it helping communities? The second will be consumer. Is it solving a problem? Is it loved by consumer? Third will be community at the core. So sometimes there are sort of some projects which have community at the core, some sustainability projects, really helping communities develop. And if it's an emerging sector in a rapidly growing market, so if it's a growing sector, so for example, if it's a sector within the fintech community, if it's growing, that's something which is always prominent for crowdfunding. So I'm going to talk you through how to successfully crowdfund. So to have a successful crowdfund, we at Seedrs, we have 3 main pillars. So sort of these 3 pillars make the foundation of a successful crowdfund. So as you can see on the screen, so the first pillar is pre-commitment or private network. The second pillar is business community, so the sort of community and the customers that the business has. And third will be Seedrs investors, so the investors that we have on our database. So the first pillar, sort of the private network, how this works is that to have a successful crowdfund, as we're a co-investor in a round, you need to have a lead investor. So your private network will be that lead investor. That could be from traditional investors such as angels, VCs. That could be from non-traditional, sort of your LinkedIn connections, your friends and family. So these will sort of formulate that lead investment. So they set the valuation of the round, set the term sheets, and then it enables Seedrs to really follow on to the round. The second pillar will be building a community. Now, there are some businesses, sort of B2B fintechs or sustainability businesses, which don't have a community, but sometimes we can alleviate that. But this is mainly for companies with a community and how we can sort of leverage it. So a company called Heights, they reached out their Twitter followers and Facebook followers, so that they put out posts that they're crowdfunding, and they managed to get high number of engagement of customers or followers to investors. Dead Happy had a strong mailing list, and we normally find companies with a strong engaged mailing list, they got a high turnaround in investors. And of course, loyalty schemes. So what we always say is that if a company's got a loyalty scheme which engage their community, engage their customer base, that can translate into a very, very strong community for investors. And sort of moving on to the third and final one, that'd be appealing to Seedrs investors. So in this step, we sort of separate it into three mini steps. So number one is, what does the Seedrs investor want to see? Now, using the head, they want to see a good valuation, good revenue already, really good traction. So that the head part is the sort of financial metrics. What's appealing with this business? The second part would be the heart. So is it a project which is it a philanthropist project which is really touching the heart of communities? Is it something close to the heart of a seed investor? Are they helping other communities? Are they solving a problem? And third would be excitement. Is it like Revolut was one of our main projects? So is it an opportunity which is going to excite all our investors, and we find that there's good traction? Just on that, we have around 700,000 users, so that investors is quite a broad number. But like Andrea said before, we've been acquired by Republic, so overall to the globe we have about 2.5 million private investors. Moving on to sort of the process. So the process of a crowdfund, we usually say takes between around 3 to 4 months. So when I'm speaking to a founder, the timeline that I usually give is around 3 to 4 months. The first phase would be something you call a strategy call. So that would be really preparing the campaign. So once the founder is onboarded with the idea of crowdfunding, the first month is really about strategizing the campaign. Submitting the campaign document, doing due diligence. That's a lot of paperwork in there, but that's really for us to really get the campaign going. And what we normally find is the more engaged the founder is in this part, enables the last two phases to almost go even more smoothly. Once the campaign preparation is done and the marketing video is done, we sort of roll into phase two, which is our investor team approves the campaign and we are open for investment. So we launch this privately for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, and then we go public. So then we launch it to the crowd. So everybody in the UK and EU will be able to see this opportunity, and they'll be able to invest. If you're a company and if you're fundraising, if you hit your 100% target on day one, you can close your campaign. But if you want to overfund, you can keep your campaign going until the 30th day. Once the 30th days hit, that's when we close the campaign. And sort of phase three is when the funding round closes. So it's quite a quick process. So once the funding round closes, we hold the money in an escrow account. So we take money in a transaction basis. So not pledges. We take it in transaction. We hold that money in an escrow account, and we're able to release this fund within 7 to 10 working days. Sometimes it may take longer, but no more than 2-3 weeks, and we can transfer it into the business account. And sort of just on that, from after crowdfunding, we've seen we've had a number of additional services added to what we do. So Seedrs was a crowdfunding platform originally. Now we really pride ourselves on being a private investment platform. And this is through to sort of these three main functions that we have on top of crowdfunding. The first one, secondary market. So if you are a business and you crowdfund with us, you have an option of going into a secondary market, which is a market where investors like myself, as an investing company, can sell or buy shares privately before a company exits. So it's actually the first secondary market and the largest private one. So that's something that we're quite proud of at Seedrs. The second one is a private deal room. So the private deal room is almost like Angel Syndicate. So if you were to go onto our website, Seedrs.com right now, there'd be a private section of the platform where only sophisticated high net worth individuals can access some certain deals. So companies who don't want to raise via the crowd, they want to raise privately through angels. We now have had a deal room in place since November 2021, where we can do direct introductions to angel investors. We can list you on that private section of the platform, and we can go directly into and we can directly introduce you to angels. We have currently around 3,000 angels listed. And finally is the anchor service. So the anchor service is similar to the private deal room. If we feel that a company doesn't have the lead investment and versus company we really would like to work with, we have an anchor service which is essentially an introductory service where we can introduce you to VC, family offices, and institutional investors. So we have around 600 at the moment. So what we do is in the anchor service, we can introduce you to these services and really help firm up the lead investment. And yeah, that's it from Andreas and I. I want to open up the floor to any questions on that. Thank you for listening.
So we might have some aspiring entrepreneurs out there in the crowd, or we might have some aspiring investors out there in the crowd. And I assume that Seedrs is then a potentially good platform for these aspiring investors as well. I'm sure you cannot give any specific investment advice here right now. I'm not going to ask you guys to do that. But if you're starting out as on that journey, do you have any suggestions, like how can you use Seedrs when you're starting out that journey?
You want me to take this one? Yeah, sure. So sort of where Seedrs could fit into that sort of fundraising, that journey of a founder is, I guess, if you're a business and if you're a startup business, when you decide to raise funds, as every business does, they raise investment. Where Seedrs can really add value is during that early stage. So let's say, for example, you're a company which wants to build a community. One thing we can do is really from the get-go is, let's say you're a food and beverage company or a fintech company. What we can do straight away is from the get-go, if you decide to raise with us, so if you decide to open up a round and Seedrs top up that round, by having you on our platform, we have around, is it 400,000 views on our platform, Andreas?
Yeah,
monthly, yeah. So it's not only do you raise funds, you sort of build a community via Seedrs as well. So it's just building up that diverse database of customers and investors. And I think Seedrs can really add value there. On top of that nominee structure that Andreas mentioned, that's really helpful for founders. A cap table can be really messy in early stages, and it just gets messier and messier. So having that nominee structure and having Seedrs nominee being one name on your cap table, representing all those hundreds of investors, is something that we really find from companies that adds value.
Sounds good. And I guess also, since you have the new kind of product that you're talking about, where you invite kind of maybe more professional angel investors to Seedrs as well, you are able to hold the journey even longer for some of the companies that come through you.
Absolutely. And in fact, sometimes what we find, it could go the other way around. So sometimes companies in their first couple of years of sort of trading, sometimes they might want to raise privately first and then go to the crowd. So they might decide, actually, we want to raise through angel investors in the first place, but actually after the angel rounds close, we can launch into a crowd fund. So that's something we also find, that it can also work the other way. So we companies can crowdfund, then maybe they come back for angels, but also having the angels set the term sheets, be the leaders of the round. That's something which we found that some companies are really fond of.
Yeah, I think it's a interesting way of raising funds for sure. And I know from personal experience as well that being a minor investor in a company makes it a lot more interesting, and you make sure to follow the company and have some special connection to it. So definitely worth looking into, I think, if especially, like you say, for consumer brands, it might be a good way to start out your journey.
Absolutely.
When that said, we're currently in maybe a difficult situation investment wise. Is that something you have seen also in Seedrs recently, or is it actually the opposite, that people tend to go towards crowdfunding when they might be struggling with other sources?
I think we've seen that it's, I mean, the economic climate has been definitely tough for everyone, but I think we've seen that because, especially with the crowdfunding side, it's mostly, you're talking about, consumer brands that people love and people are invested in. So I think, hasn't been affected as much in that sense. I mean, I think, we're still performing really well, really high level. We have a lot of investments going in. We have a lot more Seedrs investors are getting really excited and investing larger tickets for some campaigns. So I wouldn't say that's that we've necessarily seen that on the platform. But yeah, it's also to do with, when someone's passionate about something and they really want to be part of it, no matter, the climate, they'll invest and they'll, follow the journey of that company from the start, to finish.
And just to add to that, actually, what we found from using Bohurst is that, so Q3, Q4 last year, we saw the amount raised by companies, we saw the crowdfunding amount increase from companies. So as maybe VC money dries up during uncertainty, and maybe angels, a lot of companies are turning to crowdfunding just to raise that additional funding. So it's something which is becoming more and more lucrative at the moment, and there are always added benefits for raising via the crowd.
Yeah, so it's exciting times ahead for sure. I will definitely make sure to look into some of the companies you guys have there, and maybe some of the others on the call will start out their journey there. I believe Cold Monk did a small round at some point, so maybe there are some lucky investors in our company out there. Who knows? All right. So yeah, thank you, guys. Do we have any questions from the audience before we round it up?
Actually, I have a couple of questions. Actually, I have two questions that are in a way intertwined. How does the current economic situation reflect or impact the investor world? I mean, have you already seen a difference in this sense? And the other one would be, do you think the most recent events in the Silicon Valley banks, they create a ripple effect in a way and impact the funding scene, including crowdfunding?
I guess with this, answer the second question first. I think, truth be told, I don't know if we have seen the repercussions of the Silicon Valley Bank happen yet. I think maybe in a couple of months' time, we'll see the real effects of what happened a couple of weeks ago. And I think the first question is very important. It's a really great question. There has been, of course, a decline in investment overall in the world. So pretty much dating back to the Russia-Ukraine war last year. But while the money dries up, is that we're still seeing campaign be successful on our platform. I think currently we've got around 23 campaigns live. Yes, every company is pretty much hitting target as shown on our platform at the moment. So I think there is, of course, look, as the economic climate gets tougher, Seedrs is a retail platform. It's for everybody investing tickets under £10 and above. So when the economic climate gets more difficult, people tend to sort of keep them, invest safely, be more risk averse. So yeah, I mean, there has been a small dry up, but I'd say nothing impactful at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, I also have a question. My question is your crowdfunding platform just for the EU alone, or is it open for the rest of the world? If it is open for the rest of the world, what are the requirements and other things that people need to do to get on board and crowdfund on your platform?
At the moment, we are Seedrs itself as UK EU. Our parent company, Republic, is Asia, I believe, Asia, America, Middle East. But I believe our parent companies are expanding to all different markets. So I think very soon we will see an introduction to pretty much every continent with Republic. But for in terms of what's required from a company, every company varies. So usually where we add most value, where we can really help companies is having that first call with the company, asking them really what they need out of this investment, what do they want to do with the funds, what's the benefit of crowdfunding to them as well as us. So usually usually it's being open and honest with that on that first call about how you're doing financially. What are the growth metrics? What are the what are the plans for the first year, the 2 years after that?
Thank you.
No worries.
Anyone else? Or if you want to throw a question in the chat, that's also okay.
Yeah, I think I have a second question also. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Well, is there a limit to what companies can actually crowdfund, or it's an open platform for any amount?
I believe the most is 15 million. I think, dude, I can only speak from the UK regulation because I work here. I'm not sure about the EU at the moment, but for the UK, I believe it was 8 million. I think it's increased to 15 million. So there's not. So I think that's the maximum you can raise. I think the largest raise we've done is we were doing a number of large raises, but I think 8 million used to be the threshold. I think it's now increased to 15 million. Andrea,
Okay.
we'll be happy to throw our emails in the chat. So if you have any, I'll pop my email in the chat now. So if you have any more questions, just feel free to drop us an email, and we'll be sure to get back to you.
Do that. We will also share some information with everyone after the webinar. We know that we have also a special deal for everyone that's signed up on the CodeMonk platform. You actually get a 20% discount off the Seedr campaign fee. So if you register on the platform, make sure to look out for that, or you can register after the conversation. So we'll share that with everyone. And yeah, thank you, Altaf and Andreas, for taking us through this. And who knows, maybe there are some aspiring entrepreneurs or someone who's already built a product and want to get some investment from the crowds.
Absolutely. Well, we're always open. We're always open. So, look, thank you very much for this. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.